Well, folks, Antonio T. Smith Jr. is doing it again.
He's done it again.
Yes, he has. Giving away so much knowledge just to help you succeed, walk out of the middle class, become a multimillionaire. He is giving away his book just for you.
The name of that book, The Richest Man in the Trash Can. You want to make sure you get this book. Here's why.
If you are someone who is tired, frustrated, irritated of the day-to-day schedule of waking up, going to work, going back home, going to sleep just to do it all over again, not being able to spend time with your family, you just got married, you just had kids, or you take care of your parents and you're not there to do it, this is the book for you.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This book is free 99. Yes, you heard me. Free 99. Okay? All yours for free.
Yes, free 99. All you have to do is just pay shipping and handling.
That's it.
$9.95 just to get your free book. This book is a life changer. I'm trying to tell you guys, everything in this book is what Antonio taught myself and Grace that enabled us to retire. Yes, we are retired and we haven't even hit our 40s yet.
Woo!
I'm just saying.
I got a few months to go. Don't worry about it.
Shh. Don't nobody need to know that, girl. You don't look it.
That's it.
Go get it. Go get it and walk yourself out of the middle class into the life you deserve. Walk yourself into abundance. Abundance is freedom, and this book is your journey out.
You can plant better.
You can dominate.
That V is important. That's why every time I get there, I go.
That's the only letter that you got to pronunciate.
So the rev.
Yeah. That way you can say Reginald. Because if you don't say that V, you ain't gonna be able to say Reginald.
You not. Like seriously, like y'all try that. Try saying that 3 times quickly. Reverend Reginald Paul. Reverend Reginald.
See. Reverend Reginald. See, that is.
All right.
Maybe I've been practicing with the R's for a long time.
See,
Maybe
you have. Like your whole your name is Reginald. So I got the D's over here, you got the R's over there. So trying to put it all together, it's just as crazy as saying Reverend Deanna. Like that just don't flow. Like, it is what it is. It's like you wait, what?
Right. Hey, I want everybody on the call. I want everybody on the call to give yourself a round of applause.
Yes.
If you still breathing, if you looking at us, looking at me, looking at y'all, give yourself a round of applause because you are very important to yourself first and foremost. Yes. Let me see these faces. Okay, hey, Lady Ma, I see you. I see everybody else picture in their face. I try to put my picture on there, but it wouldn't let me, so I'm just have to show my face. That's right. How everybody doing this evening? That's good. Well, today we're still in chapters 1, 2, and 3. We have a series of questions. Still, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Get some feedback, get some questions, get some heart into it, get some energy going here. First and foremost, I want to start off with just the name of the book, Peaks and Valleys, and I want everybody to just meditate for a few seconds on the word peaks and valleys, and I want you to meditate. Matter of fact, this is actually one of the things that I wrote down. I want, if you able, I want you to post in the notes, where are you at right now? Post if you're in a peak, and I want you to post that you're in the valley. I'm trying to see something here. You know how the Reverend tell you, turn to your neighbor. Well, right now, we turning to your neighbor. And I want you to put in the chat or, thank you, there we go. Now action. That's right. Me, myself, I would say that I am in between. I'm on my way to. Okay, so yes, we got valleys, we got peaks. That's good. So, all my peak people, I want somebody to start off first. Do you prefer being in the peak or do you prefer being in the valley? That's the first question. Raise your hand and let's go. Let's get it in.
Hey, Reg, what's up? This is James.
How you doing, James? How you doing, sir?
What's up, brother? So I'm gonna say it
That's
like
good.
this, because to be honest, I know I just got off the last call and said something about diamonds being under pressure in order to be that diamond. I do know I have a valley to go through so I can get to the peak that I'm trying to get to. So it's kind of like the heart rate where the line is flat, then it goes up, down, and then back up. I feel like that's how my journey is on its way. I know I have work to do. It's the part of the mission that I don't want to do, but I have to allow it so I can become what I need to be to do what I'm called to do. That's just how I see that right now. If that helps you.
That's a good look. That is a good look. That is a good look. Now, being where you are right now, right to yourself. Normally, I tell my sisters, especially Grace, I say, you know what? When I ask you a question, it's not for you to answer it. It's for you to think about it, meditate on it. I want to ask yourself right now. I want you to ask yourself, James. Ask yourself, what is your next step? And think about it. And then speak on it after you think about it.
Hey, Reggie.
Yes.
While James is doing that, we had a question, and then after James, we have Miss Michelle G. Miss Kiara Pritchett asks, "What's in between?" And
in between is on your way to, which means I made a decision, like the young man did when he finished eating that dinner. He said, "I'm supposed to go ahead and go." So I made up my mind to go ahead and go, but now I'm in between because I'm on my way to. Did that clarify? Did I say clarify?
you did, yes, sir.
I sure did.
Yes, you did.
That's a word today.
It is. Just like
Yes,
the word I
ma'am.
made up last week. I appreciate
Hey, no problem. We doing good then.
it. Yes, we are.
As long as we're gonna make our own dictionary.
You know what? By the end of this class, we're gonna have an integrity leadership dictionary. Now, Miss Kiara, there's another. She said yes, laugh out loud. Now there's another in between too, because you have your in between, like in between from your valley to your peak, but then you also have your in between your peaks, the valley in between your peaks, because life is like this. So you have that, okay, I'm in the valley, I went up the peak, now I'm coming down my peak, but there's also a valley right there. So you also have the in between the peaks as well.
Amen. Amen. Because there is no division between the valley and peak.
There is.
So therefore, yes, that is correct.
All right. Yes. She said that's where I'm at. All right. All right.
Okay. Well, I ain't lonely then.
No, look, we've the family's in between the peaks. All right.
All right.
All right. And then Miss Michelle G, I saw your hand. Maya, I just saw your hand. But Reginald, would you like for James to go ahead and answer that question you asked him, or was that?
Yes, if he don't mind. I know he ready.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting, bro.
I know he ready.
Yes. So I like my next move. I play chess. I have to make my next best move. And to be honest, it's like I'm transparent here. I don't know how I'm not trying to be conceited. I'm not being conceited. My beautiful, handsome face that God gave me, for some reason, it's hard for me to accept that and use it and get in front of the camera and go live on Facebook. I watch you guys. I see you guys. And honestly, I love that you guys are doing it, because it's every day I see it, it forces me. It eats me up inside when I don't take that step.
So welcome.
Yes. Yeah. I have to take that step. And trust me, when I do make the step, you guys all will see it. Because I know in this season that we're in, I believe God have his hand on all of it. And that being said, is like, he's telling me to move. He's saying move. Like, you can't be still. You have the plan. You have the vision. Make it happen. Make it a reality. So take the next step. For me, the next step is to put myself out there in front of the people. People are already waiting and asking and want to know what's going on in my life. I don't know how or why, but that's the case, and I need to give it to them. I've been sitting back on the fear of not doing it. So now I just have to do it. There's like literally no excuse. No excuse. I have to do it. So that's where I'm at.
Progress, young man.
Yes. Thank you.
Nice progress.
It's just a matter
that's what we call progress. I've been in the mud too, James. So taking that step out of that mud, it feels good. But make sure you don't go back into that mud because it's going to be harder the next time trying to get out.
Look,
wow.
I feel you on that. Him. You ain't supposed to be slapping me over here too, Reverend.
I feel that.
Yes.
I do. There's something that you said, James, that I hope everyone heard. You asked yourself, what's my next best move? In Peaks and Valleys, there's a conversation between the old man and the young man. And the younger man had to connect the dots because the older man wouldn't do it for him. And Antonio does this to us all the time, and it drives us crazy. Like, he'll tell us something and make us connect the dots. And we'd be like, why you just can't tell me up front? But I'm glad that he has us teaching this because it's a refresher and a reminder for me. The only way for you to when you're making your next best move, it helps you prepare yourself. So if you're in your valley and you ask yourself, what's my next best move? That question alone will help you stay on your peak longer. So I want everyone to write down before you do anything, before you make your next move, just ask, what is my next best move? You can phrase it however you want to phrase it. You can direct it to whoever you pray to, however you pray, whoever you talk to, you can direct it to them. You can say, universe, what is my next best move? God, what is my next best move? However you choose, but always ask yourself, remember my next, always ask yourself, what is my next best move? And then after you ask yourself that question, be still. Because you can't ask yourself that question and move. If you're going to ask the question, you need to be still to await the answer.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way you're going to
hear. You helped me realize something about myself. I'm very impulsive. When you said that, I just realized how impulsive I am. Everything I do is like in little quick spurts of energy. And it's quick here right now. Do it while I can. Do it while my mind is there. Because the moment it get away from me, it's not going to get done. And now, knowing, I'm helping myself here as well. So knowing that is have that spurt of energy, get it done, and then wait. Not wait, but a matter of sit still and figure out the next best move.
Don't figure it out.
Yeah.
Wait to receive the answer because you've already asked the question.
Received. I gotta sit still now on that. Literally, you said don't figure it out.
No,
sit still and wait for the answer.
If you're going to ask the question, wait for the answer. If you're going to ask, that's like asking God, hey God, hey God, this is what I want, and be like, okay, but you're not moving fast enough, so I'm gonna move before you do.
Or you tell him that you'll be right back. Hey, I'll be right back, God. I just asked you this question. I'll be right back. And we know we serve her right now, God. So he's getting ready to give it to you, but you just told him that you'd be right back.
Right.
Because of that. Yeah.
So when you ask the question, wait for the answer. And James, please understand, I am not telling you something that I have not suffered with, been challenged with myself. I'll be like, God, what do I do next? And be like, I'm just gonna go over here. Or okay, God, can you tell me how to, or universe, what do I do here? And be like, I don't feel like waiting. I'm just gonna go on and do it myself over here. Oh, I just dropped my
and be right back in the valley. on your back. Valley juice all on your shoulder.
Not the valley juice. Not the valley juice. I'm not fooling with you tonight, Reginald.
You thought it was sweat. It's valley juice. You thought it was sweat from you making progress. It's valley juice. You done slipped and fell in the valley juice, man. Hey, listen to your
Oh,
conscience. Listen to your mind. That's your mind. That's your universe talking to you. They say the chakras. I learned that a couple of months ago. Your chakras lining up. At least one of them lined up, and you don't wanna ignore your chakra, man. The spurts. Do the spurts because next thing you know, you get enough spurts, you actually got a current. The little sparks turn to a current. That's what you want to become is the current. You don't want to be little sparks. You want to be the current.
yes, yes.
Let it flow through you, Because once you start, it's like me. Once I start, don't give me, look, the coach used to, in college basketball, they used to tell, the scouting report was, whatever y'all do, don't make him mad. Don't get, basically what the coaches was telling them, don't get him started. Because once he gets started, he's locked in and he's focused, and there's nothing you can do to stop him. That's the attitude that we got to have.
Thank
Man,
you.
I received that, especially being an athlete. I definitely understand that.
No, I thank you. Thank you so much, James, for your input this evening. Thank you so very much. Like I said, you said some incredible things. I'm so happy that I have my big brother, Reverend Reginald. Did I say it, Reverend Reginald?
You
Here
got it.
to give.
By the end of this class, you'll have it fluent. Yes,
I'm,
Reverend Reginald.
I'm
Yeah.
happy he's here to break things down in the sports aspect so y'all can get it because y'all know if I do it, it's gonna be all broken up. So we gonna go ahead. We have Miss Michelle. You are next. I hope you remember what you wanted to say to us. So the floor is now yours. And after Miss Michelle, Miss Maya, you are up next. The floor is yours, Miss Michelle.
Hello everybody.
Hey,
First I'm just about to mess with Reggie real quick.
go ahead.
What's your chakra?
It's the blue, the yellow, the green, the
No, I'm talking
orange,
about the
the
way
little
you're
cup.
pronouncing it though.
Yeah, well, I'm a Galvestonian, first of all. I'm going to tap up some
I was
pronunciation.
that's why I said I'm just gonna I was messing with you.
Yeah, I'm going to tad up and I'm going to do it with pride. You understand that? I'm going to say it like it was meant to say it that way.
Oh my god.
What's the proper way? Tell me the way that it's not chocolate, chakra,
Chakra.
shock.
It's
You were
pronounced
see?
chakra.
Like Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
But okay. What I was gonna say was right now I'm in between. I'm going from the valley up the peak. And you know, like they were saying, like he was saying in the book, every time you get to your peak, you're always gonna go back down to your valley. So you don't know when that's gonna be, when you actually gonna go back down to that valley. It's all in God's hands. And you just have to trust him, and know that he is definitely got you and that he's going to bring you through the valley and back up to the peak. So right now, that's where I am.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. And that when we get to our peaks, ladies and gentlemen, the length I'm so happy she said what she said. I'm so happy you said what you said, Miss Michelle. Not only will the time frame that you spend on your peak, when you come back down, yes, but also if you listen to universe, to Allah, to God, if you listen to the spiritual being or the spiritual practice that you follow, if you listen to them while you're in the valley, they will tell you what to do to prepare yourself to stay on the peak longer. The valley is for preparation for your peak. So for those of you that are in your valley, rejoice. Because you're in the perfect position to gather the materials you need, to gather the knowledge you need, to gather the experience you need. So once you go up the valley, up the peak, you can stay on your peak longer.
Your valley is just as important as your peak. Don't knock. Don't knock your valley. We have a tendency to knock our valley because it's not where we want to be, and we keep looking at our peaks, but we miss the opportunity to prepare for our peak when we're in our valley. So for those of you in your valleys, I applaud you because you're in a perfect position to prepare yourself to go up on your peak. And then when you come down off your peak, don't go back to the same valley. Because there's valleys in between the peaks. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. There's valleys in between the peaks. So don't go back to the same valley you just came from. You've gathered everything you needed in that valley to get you to your first peak. So when you come off that first peak, don't go to the same valley. Go to the next valley. Get what you need in that valley to prepare you for the next peak.
That's it. Now, let me get a piece of your past, your alley hoop. And while you were speaking, no, I'm gonna tell you what you did. I'm gonna tell you what you opened up. I'm gonna tell you what spiritual door you opened up. And I want us to meditate. We're gonna meditate today in today's class. I want y'all to meditate. I'm gonna say a word, and then somebody gonna catch what's supposed to happen. I guarantee it, because the presence is here. The word I'm looking for is ascend. Once you have ascended, do anybody know what happened to a carpenter who ascended and then came back? Could somebody tell me, when the carpenter ascended and came back, tell me, what did the carpenter do? When he came back to the valley, he ascended. That means
he went to
went
heaven.
there.
That was, he sat beside Christ. That was Jesus Christ that ascended.
And came back where? To the valley for us.
He came back to the valley to bring us and help us to get to that peak, which is heaven, next to the Father.
Okay, but awesome. He came back for us. Okay, so if he came back for us, when we ascend, what we supposed to come down and do?
We're supposed to come back and reach and bring others back up.
Okay, and that was in the chapter. I'm thinking 3, yes, maybe 2-ish.
Tap me in, Coach. Tap me in.
Yeah. Here you go. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Jesus went to the peak. He came back to the valley to teach us, to show us, to mold us, to guide us, to give us what we needed to go to the peak. That's what the valley's for. The valley's, making sure I say this right. Antonio tells us you don't plant seeds on your peak. Jesus didn't plant a seed on his peak. All the work is done in the valley. Jesus came to the valley to plant the seeds. All you can do in your valley is the real harvest of what you did. All you can do, your peak is the harvest of what you did in the valley. So whatever you do in the valley will prepare you for the peak. Jesus, like you said, Jesus was on the peak. He came back down to the valley. While he was in the valley, he sowed seeds, he taught, he educated, he guided. He chose others to be teachers.
God dog it.
And then once he did that, he went back up to the peak. Now the ones that were here, still in the valley, they were supposed to teach others the same concept that Jesus taught them so they can get to the peak. And if you read in the book, I don't know how far you have gotten, but if you read the book, you will actually see that. You will see where this young man went up to the peak. He met the old man. They had a conversation, and he had an epiphany up on the peak. Then he came back down from the peak,
and started. He was trying to teach those around him, but see what we miss is we aggressively go at people in the valley once we've been on the peak.
That, keep going. You something else. You something else. Because I just wanted to add in. Well, I'm gonna let you. I just wanted to throw in. I want to throw in. Once he went to the valley, love is in the valley. He wants us to come up there with him because he's by himself. Once you do what we're supposed to do, we're on the right hand with him, right? So if our maker, God, is love, his son down there where he was at. Love was down. Love is in the valley. You have to love being in the valley. Even if you volunteered or even if you made your own path to the valley. Some of us chose to go back to the valley. Some of us didn't choose to get to the valley. But you there. And you got to love it. You have to love it. There's no way. It's said in the book that I like to do the comparison between the young man and the old man. I don't look at him as the young man and old man. You know what I look at him as the future and the past and the future. See, the young man and the old man, it wasn't nothing but the young man looking at himself in the mirror when he got wiser. That's all it was. That's us looking at our future self. And our future self is telling us, hey, you fit to go through some stuff, and I'm fit to tell you what to do before you. Yes, you still gonna have to go through it, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. So when he got there, he already knew how to deal with it.
Oh, okay. All right. Before I open back up my mouth, Miss Maya, we have you, Miss Maya. Then Corey, we have you, and then Miss Michelle, we have you again. But thank you all, because everything that you have said adds value to this. So thank you very much. And Miss Charmone, I see your question. We're going to get your question too. But thank each and every one of you, because this is the place to talk it out. This is the place to understand where you are. Are you in your valley? Are you in your peak? This is the integrity leadership class, but it starts off with you understanding first where you are. If you don't know if you don't understand, realize, accept, and acknowledge where you are, then you won't be able to move forward. You won't be able to lead anybody else. And Tempest just posted, I believe we get sent back to the valleys because we didn't appreciate it, or because we were so covered in poverty, we did not learn the lessons, did not plant the seeds, did not give thanks for the valley. Thank you. No, no, ma'am, Miss Carrie, you're not in Bible study. but just like Tempest said, you go back to the valleys when you don't appreciate your peaks. When you're so stuck in where you are, when you don't learn the lessons, when you don't plant the seeds in the valley, when you don't give thanks for the valley, you miss out on an extended trip to your peak. So thank you so much, Tempest, for what you posted. Thank you very much. And Miss Carrie, I do see your questions, but we're gonna go ahead and get to Miss Maya because she has been waiting patiently. So Miss Maya, then we'll get to Miss Kara's question. Then I'm sorry, Tempest, go ahead. I see you unmuted your mic.
Nope, that was an accident.
Okay. All right, so Miss Maya, the floor is yours, and after Miss Maya, we're gonna answer Kara's question, and then Corey and Miss Michelle. So please remember what you were going to say, Miss Maya.
Wow, I think I almost forgot what I was about to say, but it's more so I feel like I'm at my peak, but it's not the peak that people may think it is. I feel like now I've reached a peak where it's like I'm coming out of that comfort zone. I'm finally getting to the portion of not necessarily at the valley, but I've done more than I ever thought that I could do. So I've gotten to that point. So I feel like I'm on a peak, but I'm not like at the peak, So I'm on my way. I'm on my peak to a newer valley. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, and so this is what I want you to do. Everybody, please unmute your mics, and we're going to applaud Miss Maya for reaching her peak, because everybody's peak is different. Everybody's peak is different.
Thank you.
When I posted that I'm in the middle, I'm in the valley in between peaks, because I've hit my peaks before. I've hit peaks before, but then I had to come back down to another valley to prepare for the next one. So I'm literally in the valley of my next peak. Yeah. So anytime you hit your peaks are yours. Mm-hmm. Your peaks are not what someone says they need to be. Your peaks are not your peaks are yours and yours alone. Just like your journey is yours and yours alone. It's the same thing. So anytime you hit a personal peak, pause and enjoy it, because there's a part in the book where the young man, he went up the peak, he got up there too late, and he said, I missed it. He said, I missed it. But he was so busy looking at what he missed that he did not see the beauty in reaching the peak. So when y'all reach a peak, reach your peak, not somebody else's peak. Because when you go for somebody else's peak, you're going to say, I missed it every time. But when you go for your peak, you're going to lay back, if it's dark, it's okay, because all you have to do is just lay back, look up, and see how clear the sky is and see the stars. Because it took that old man had to explain that to him in order for him to understand that. So I applaud you for reaching your peak.
Thank you.
Tippett said, you can laugh out loud. You cannot copy and paste a peak or a harvest. No, you cannot copy and paste a peak or a harvest, because it's not yours. So you can't do that. You cannot do that. All right. So Lady Maya, thank you so much for your transparency. Thank you for sharing with us. And congratulations on reaching your peak. So next we have Miss Kiara. You had a question. Miss Charmone, I'm sorry, you had a question. So if we end up in the valley when we don't choose to go to the valley, does that mean there is something there for us to learn? Yes, ma'am. Anytime you're in the valley, it's a time for you to learn. Consider the valley. Let me see. You know, when you were in school and you were, the senior school I was in, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it, but our physics class every year went to Astroworld. And the reason that our physics teacher took us to Astroworld was so for our field trip, we were doing hands-on learning. He would take us, teach us, okay, so what's the velocity of this and that? If the roller coaster is doing this and doing that, if the park is this, all that stuff. That is stuff to me. So y'all just work with me because it's stuff. But think of the valley. Explain what Astroworld is. Oh, thank you, Grace. Okay, so here in the wonderful world of Houston, Texas, we had a place called Astroworld. If you ever heard of Six Flags, there's a Six Flags over Florida. There's a Fiesta, Texas. There's a Six Flags over Austin, something like that. That was Astroworld for us. It was roller coasters, water rides, funnel cakes with strawberry topping and powdered sugar. Grace understands me. So Astroworld is this huge amusement park with all these different, if you ever heard of the Batman, if you've seen the commercials, you've ever heard of the Batman roller coaster, the Texas Cyclone, the Ultra Twister, the Dungeon Drop. Yeah, that's all Astroworld. So consider your valley your Astroworld. Consider your valley your field trip of life, where you get hands-on learning and experience. So when you get up to the peak, you have all the math, you have all the physics, you have everything that you needed right there. You have learned it, you've educated yourself. Also, for those of you who love to read, think of your valley as this huge library where every podcast you listen to, every YouTube video you watch, every book you read, it's your classroom. Your valley is your classroom. So Miss Charmone, if you just so happen to be in a valley and you didn't choose to be in that valley, it's on your journey, you hit a peak, and then during that peak, you started traveling back down, not realizing it, and you ended up in that valley. Well, while you're in that valley, study, learn, grow, gather all the things that you need, so when you get back on your peak, you can stay up there longer. Because the only reason we ever come up of our peak is because we run out of resources. We run out of supplies. The valley is where you gather. The peak is where you celebrate. Just like when you going to work from 9 to 5 is your valley. Your paycheck is your peak. You put in all that work from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's your valley. Because you put in the work. You took the trainings, whatever trainings they had you take. You did whatever you needed to do. That paycheck, you did everything throughout the week to prepare yourself for that check. But I want you to expand your mind. You always hit a peak. You always hit a peak, James. You just didn't prepare yourself to stay on it long enough. So maybe you didn't realize you hit it. But every time you have a challenge in your life, every time you hit a bump in the road, every time you hit a wall you think you couldn't climb and you either busted through it, went over it, built a bridge, that's a peak. So you hit peaks all the time. You hit them all the time. So I hope that answered both of your questions.
Sharmon, you had the question?
Yeah, she posted it in the.
I seen a palm.
Oh, go ahead. Thank you, Reginald.
I think now I'm a little confused as to what the valley and the peak looks like. I think I have an idea. The valley is where.
I'm sorry, Miss Ramona, can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think I'm a little confused as to what the valley looks like and what a peak looks like. Is the valley the place where you're in constant learning?
Yes, ma'am. That's a good way to put it. In the book, the young man, his valley was where he lived.
Right.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
The book, I took the gentleman's valley as being like his life, where he faced trials and tribulation, and his peaks were when he succeeded, when he was doing well, he got the promotion, he got the raise. I think I just answered my own question. Okay, I think. But what you said that we always hit the peaks. Is it ever a time where your values are identical to your peaks?
That's a really good question.
Can I chime in, Misty?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Miss Kara.
And this is for James too. I kind of feel like his question was kind of in alignment with hers. And I don't know what book y'all talking about. I've never been on this call. I don't know. That's why I was like, we in Bible study. What book we in? Maybe that's why I don't know if I'm in the peak or valley because I ain't read the book. But one of the things that we have to be mindful of is where our mindset is, because we can be in a peak. We can be in a peak, and God has taken us there, but our mind is in an old place. Our mindset can still be in a valley, and we miss our learning experience. So we keep repeating the same thing, and we're not catching it. So our mindset is in that valley state, but we've already moved to the peak, so we're not experiencing that level of happiness because our mind is still behind. So we got to bring our mindset up to that peak space. Does that make sense, Ms. Sharmon?
It makes sense. I guess I think my thought is, if the valley is your place of constant learning, then I feel like I'm learning all the time. So when do I recognize my peak
Hmm.
if I'm always in the learning state?
Well,
Oh, can I answer that one?
yeah. Go ahead.
Um, the thing is, you're always gonna learn, no matter whether you're in your valley or if you're in your peak. But what you learn comes at, like, say, different levels, to make it simpler. When you're in your valley, you feel like you're struggling, and that's your more intense learning. That's the lessons that God is trying to teach you. And if you're not getting it, he's going to keep taking over and over and over. But when you finally say, okay, say you're hanging out with somebody that is just destroying you, taking you down, but you don't see that. And people are seeing it, and they keep telling you, but you don't see it and you just ignore it. But then they do something to make you finally see what everybody's been saying. So you finally gotten it. You finally gotten it. But then you go up to the peak after that. And when you're at that peak, you're learning, but it's just in a better position. Does that make sense?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Thank you so much, Miss Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Miss Sharman, and I'm gonna do it this way, so because I want to make sure that I'm not saying that no one caught anything that's been said, but I'm gonna talk in a language where I would understand it too. If you first start school and you're a kindergartner, you go through that whole year of kindergarten. That's your valley. And then you graduate from kindergarten or first grade. That's your peak. And then you go to first grade. That's your whole valley. And then you graduate from first grade to second grade. That's your peak. And then when you hit that second grade, the second grade is a valley. And then when you move from second to third grade, that's a peak.
Okay.
So I hope that helps.
I get it.
Okay. And if any of you still have any questions about anything, please feel free to email us and ask, or text us, say, hey, I still have questions about this. Please feel free, because we want everyone to walk away with your questions answered to your understanding. Because we may explain something and somebody else may be like, oh yeah, but if it's not to your understanding, please let us know, because we don't want anyone to walk away with questions. All right, so we had Miss Charmon's question, then we had Corey Peters. I see your mic is unmuted and the floor is yours.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Good. So there's a lot that I want to say now, but
Just go ahead.
so let me start with where I am right now. Where I am is I am coming out of the valley. And I basically hit that valley when I was on my highest peak and literally lost everything that I gained inside of the peak. So I was really at a really hard valley. However, kind of going to what I was going to say originally, is that also kind of gave me awareness to how far I'd want to go and how much resources I would want to pick up to get back to my peak, and bring that awareness to know, okay, this is how many resources I have now. Let's see how far I can go now with this peak. And then, so it's kind of like, the way that I look at it is that you have to have the valley, because at some point those resources are going to run out. And through me knowing how much resources I actually have, I may have an idea of when I may want to actually start going down. So it's like I kind of make that choice of my own, versus before, when I was actually at my peak, and I didn't know when my peak was going to be over, because I didn't know when my resources were going to be done. Then all of a sudden, not even by choice, but by force, I went back into my valley without really truly choosing it. So one of the things that I see is like, you have to have your peak, but at the same time, you have to know when to go back down into the valley. So it's not even like, I mean, and in every place you're learning, because even when you're in your peak, you kind of know, like even when you're, like even the fastest runner, they know how far they can go at a certain speed before they get tired. So it's just like, you kind of use that to learn. So you're just like, okay, I can run for 30 seconds going this fast. And then you go back into your peak, into your valley. And then you kind of craft yourself to go longer. And then you go back and forth like that. So it's like, I think it's more of a dance than just trying to think that how to also always get to your peak or also get to your valley. It's all a choice to me. And it's all a learning lesson throughout the way. So that's really where I'd want to say where I am right now and what I'd like to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much thank you for your transparency. Thank you very much. Thank each and every one of you for your transparency this evening. One of the things that Antonio teaches us, and first off, thank you, Mr. Antonio T. Smith Jr., if you are listening, for giving us the opportunity to teach the integrity leadership class, because we were students in this class once, and I am still a student. Anytime any of you open up to speak and share, I learn as well. So thank you, Antonio, and thank each and every one of you as well. One of the things that Antonio used to teach us, or when we started this book, he would let us know, is if you don't master the lessons you were supposed to learn in the valley, the peak will send you back down to the valley to learn, and the peak won't let you stay on it for a long while. So if you don't master the lessons you were supposed to learn in the valley, the peak will send you back down to the valley to learn, and it won't let you stay on it for a long while. So to answer any questions you may have about how long can you stay on the peak, or, what are you supposed to do in the valley is for you to learn. And if you don't learn it and you go up that peak, the peak will send you back down to the valley to learn the lessons you were supposed to learn. The peak won't let you stay up there long. That's why sometimes it's hard for us to determine when we're on a peak, because we don't catch the lesson that we're supposed to learn in the valley. So when we hit that peak, we fall right back down. And from personal experience, I've done it on numerous occasions throughout my entire life. That's why I said I'm in a valley in between peaks, because our life is literally a heartbeat. We're down, we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down, we're up. But what we learn while we're down depends on how long we stay up. It's just like Les Brown says, I can't remember who it is, but they said when you fall, make sure, I think it was Denzel Washington, when you fall on your back so you can see how far it takes you to get up. Your valley is you laying on your back on the ground, looking up like, okay, that's how far I gotta go. All right, so and then you have to get yourself off the ground. You getting yourself off the ground is getting the education you need, learning what you need to learn. So when you get to that peak, you can be like, all right, I'm here. I can stay up here a little longer. I can stay up here a while. And then there's going to be a point in time where you're going to be like, man, it's something I need to pick. It's something I need to catch. So I got to go back down to my valley so I can learn and go right back up to my peak. So your valley, if you don't master the lessons that you need to master in your valley, you won't be able to stay on your peak long. Your peak will send you back down to your valley. It won't let you stay up there long. So you have to learn your lessons in the valley.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. Well said.
Okay, I was about to say, before we move to Miss Michelle, what would you like to say, Reverend Reginald?
Well, I think we all have a mutual understanding of the peak and the valley. Again, appreciate all the questions and the concern, and I hope we are all getting something from this as far as where we at right now, where we're trying to get to, and where we're trying to leave from. So the next topic I want to bring up, before I bring up this next topic, does anybody have anything else they want to share or say about the peak or the valley?
We have Miss Michelle. Miss Michelle's hand is up.
Okay.
Deanna, what you said made me remember actually what I was gonna say before I was responding to a Charmon. But part of what you said is what I was gonna say, and I put it in chat. And just speaking for me in my life, going through the valley is actually, it's better. It's more, that's when you learn more and you build more than when you're in your peak and you're learning. When you're in the valley, you're more humble. You tend to, you love more. I think, like Reggie said earlier, you tend to love more. And that love is unconditional when you're in your valley. You're not actually expecting anything from anyone. But when you go up that peak and you're learning, it's like you kind of got the big head. Like, I'm already doing this, so it doesn't matter. But even though you're still learning, and that's when you get knocked off. And like I said, that's just me personally. I can't speak for everybody else, but me personally, that's how it is for me. So
I actually love being in the valley. It was a player, a favorite player of mine. His name was Allen Iverson, and the boy had an interview, and you know, he when he goes to work, he goes to work. Everybody can agree. We've seen it with our own eyes. Those who follow sports. He played for the 76ers, Deanna. He was a real short dude with braids. Okay, he brought in do-rags and tattoos into the NBA. Okay, I had to give my sister a quick lesson on Iverson, but he said a statement. He said, "Practice, go hard and practice." A lot of people don't like practice. A lot of people just want to play the game. How you gonna perfect your skill if you just play the game all the time without no practice? Me personally, that's why I can agree with what you said about the being in I just like difficult stuff. I can't explain it, y'all. I cannot explain it. It just makes me tougher. Whatever don't kill me makes me tougher. And again, yeah, I don't want the big head, so maybe I don't want to go all the way up to the peak. Because if I look down, I mean, I'm looking down on every, this is me though. This is not everybody, but I want to be down there with, I want to be down there where the love is. I want to be down there where I can perfect the crowd. I told you, I just want to extend that hand out. That's all. Come on, let me get you about this mud. Let me clean you up, man. You hungry? Want something to eat? Hey, say, look, man, it's a hole right there. Hey, I'm telling you, bro, it's a hole right there. Sis, it's a hole right there. You want to know why I know it's a hole right there? I fell in it. And if you keep falling in there, that hole gonna get deeper, and I ain't gonna be able to get you out, man. Because I know it's somebody down there, man. It's lonely at the top. I was talking to my sister Grace last week. I say, it's lonely at the top, man. It's lonely at the top. Hey, it was a game we used to play back then in the day. Us boys, we outside playing. If it was like a little pile of rocks or anything that had something where the top was, and we used to play King of the Hill. And whoever got to the top, we trying to god doggone take your head off and get to the top. So, that's like cutthroat. You know what I mean? But still, of course it's gonna be two sides of a coin. Of course it's gonna be, let's get to that valley. But, like she mentioned, some of us do better in the valley. Some of us do way better. But one cannot go without the other.
Exactly.
The peak and the valley is the same thing.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected. One of the things that Antonio teaches us is that humility and love should not change between the valley and the peak. And Reggie, you were actually speaking on that. You were like, you know, I don't want to get too high up because I want to help them down there. That's you giving that love. That's you showing that love. Like you said, hey sis, it's a hole right there. How do I know it's a hole right there? Because I stepped in it. That's you showing that love. And then as you go up the peak, still extend that same love. You know, the valley, nothing should change between the valley and the peak. The only thing that should change, like someone mentioned earlier, is your mindset. You know, that's literally the secret to staying on the peak longer, is the love that you show. And that was what the old man was trying to tell the young man. And the further you get into the book, the more you'll see that. But like Reginald just said, and like Miss Michelle said, it's love. It's all about love. You can't get the big head going up the peak because you won't be able to stay up there long. You have to show the love. You have to show the love. And Mr. Phil, I see you unmuted your mic.
Yes, maybe that's why we like the beach so much, because we don't have to deal with any peaks or valleys. But even the beach isn't perfect. I was on a beach one day walking with a friend of mine. He said, Phil, wouldn't it be nice if life was like a walk on the beach? I said, well, let's think about this. What grows on a beach? He said, well, not much. I said, well, what grows in fertilizer? He says, a lot. See, it's the crap in your life that makes you grow.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil. Did y'all hear what he just said? Okay, I thought I just didn't want to be the only one
spoken.
Right? I was hoping I was the only one who caught that. Your valley, your valley is full of crap, but it help you grow to get to your peak. All right, Mr. Reginald, you wanted to go. You had another question.
Yes,
The floor is yours.
We should all love this exercise. I call it an exercise because you know we can't go to the gym, but we can always work it out. You understand what I'm saying? So, first and foremost, the young man and the wise man. Okay, I want us to be the young man, and I want us to. What would we say to the wise man when we got up towards that peak and it was dark and we thought we didn't make it and we saw him? What would we tell him? Because you know he was getting ready to tell us. Once we we got there, he told us, he said, hey man, tell me what you see now. Say bro, it's dark out here, man. I can't even see my toes, brother. You understand what I'm saying? I'm quite frankly, I'm scared. He say, the wise man was laying on his back. You know that he was looking at the constellation. And, it's pretty bright up there. They got nice electricity up there. They ain't even no candles or nothing. And he say, look, check out this new scenery. You know, as I've been saying for the last couple of days, change the atmosphere. The wise man told the younger brother, just change the atmosphere. Let's break that down into simplest terms. Mathematician Grace, shout out to you. Let's break that down into simplest forms. See, I was learning, Grace. I learned from the math. Okay, I appreciate it, sis. Now, when we break this down and we reduce that fraction, we looking at the stars and we just changed our whole mindset. It's beautiful up there. Yeah, I bet it is because you opened your eyes up to something new. So, what I want us to do is to picture us climbing up from the valley up to the peak, getting ready to meet this wise man. What would we say to them due to where we at right now? Wherever we at, because in the beginning I said, hey, let us know if you in the peak or the valley. So wherever you at right now, I want you to tell us what you would tell that wise man.
All right, and we got a hand, Mr. Reginald. Yeah, Miss Michelle G. The floor is yours.
Okay, y'all. I promise I'm a stop. But
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
The first thing I would tell them would be thank you, because there you go, right there.
Gratitude.
That's what was getting ready to come out of my mouth. Gratitude shows it shows that humbleness. It also it helps you get further or stay on that peak longer as well. Because when you're grateful for what you've been through, then you're grateful for where you are after you've come through it. So that would be the first thing that I would tell him. And then I would ask him, if I didn't, if I hadn't already gotten it, how did you stay up here so long?
There we go.
What
dig deep.
can I do to stay up here longer? So, I mean, I want to know, because getting it from somebody who's been through it or been and who has that wisdom and that knowledge, man, that right there, that's something that's you can't even pay for.
Mm-mm.
Knowledge and experience. Knowledge and experience.
Gratitude.
And yeah, I was just
not an attitude, but gratitude. Not an attitude, but gratitude.
Because when he first got up there, he had an attitude. He's like, man, I missed it. What you talking about, old man?
Hey, what's going on? What you doing?
Like, dude, first off, where you came from? Where did you came from? I
can't see.
Oh man, you doing out here, man?
Like,
wolves out here.
It's a dog. Yeah. He just go walk up on me like that. Like, wait a minute.
You laying down like you inside a king size bed.
But he never thought, but he never thought to say thank you until, like you said, Reginald and Miss Michelle, until the guy said, just look up, like change your atmosphere, change what you're looking at, change your view. And the moment he changed his atmosphere, the moment he changed his view, and he looked up, he was like, man. So instead of him worried about the fact that he missed getting up there during the daylight, he actually looked to see.
Took the valley out of him. Took the valley right out of him. Right out.
So I want to hear from who else? Like who else? Who else? Okay, Miss Charmon, I like this question, Reginald.
The way Michelle responded, me being where I am right now, I would have been a little upset with the older man, because it didn't look like how I pictured it would look. It was dark.
Okay.
I couldn't see anything, so I would have been upset, and I probably would have missed the opportunity to be grateful or to receive whatever else there was to receive on the piece, because I was in my feelings.
All right. Okay, so Ms. Charmon, I want to thank you so much for your transparency and honesty, because I want to know how many other people have missed out on their peaks because it didn't look like how they wanted it to look. And I'll be the first to raise my hand. I will be the first.
Would have rolled right back down to that valley. Would have rolled. I wouldn't have walked. I would have rolled right down there, tumbling and all, full steam ahead. It got me messed up.
All the way.
Yeah.
But
hey, Good one.
Go ahead. No, go ahead,
No,
Reggie.
I was just telling that was a good one, Sharmon. That was.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
and
Yeah.
Corey, I see you unmuted your mic. Go ahead.
No, I want to share about that because this week I actually had that because it's crazy because I actually just know I was finally able to become aware of where I was. And I really reached a point where I'm starting a new job, making more money on Monday. And it was one of those things that came to mind because I was still thinking like, I'm still not where I want to be. And I'm just like, and then I had to stop and think when I was on these calls and I realized, there's 3 million people on unemployment. And I'm still concerned that I'm still not where I want to be. And I'm making $20,000 more than how much I made last year when I lost my job. And so to me, I was just like, I can be grateful where I am and really consider this like a peak of mine. Because this is like a peak of where I actually wanted to be. So, if I was to really speak to see that person, I'd really want to, number one, of course, give gratitude. And then number two, find out from him what shaped his vision to have him see where he is right now. Because this was a guy who, he was one of the wealthiest people, very wise. And most times when you think about those people in the worldly space, it's like there's somebody with a lot of money, but he's somebody who chose to live in a peak, in the mountain somewhere. So I would want to know what would be the vision so that way I can kind of shape myself in the vision that I would want to be.
That's a good one. That's a real good one. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Ms. Charmon, Corey, Michelle, Kiara. Thank all of y'all for your transparency. Thank you so much. Because what Charmon was saying, she would have been like, I would have been upset. And then I would have missed before. If I would have gone up a peak, I would have did the same thing because it didn't look how I expected it to look. But I need each and every one of you to understand that still happens. Like, that still happens. When you reach a peak, if it doesn't look how you expect it to look until you change your mindset, change yourself from the inside out, it's going to be the same way all the time. I'm being transparent because it still happens to me. There are times where I hit a peak and I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, this ain't how it was supposed to look. Like, this ain't what I asked for. But in all actuality, it is what I asked for. But because it didn't look how I expected it to look, I completely missed out on my peak. But one of the things that I loved most about it was when he woke up the next morning and he was still on his peak, he was able to see it, but then he was also able to see the valley. He was also able to see the cloud that was over the valley. See, he couldn't see it before, but now that he was up on the peak, now that his perspective had been changed and he looked down, now he can see, oh, so my vision has been clouded all this time, and I took that same vision from the valley and I brought it up to the peak. So I want to thank each and every one of you for your transparency this evening, because what you're doing is you're opening the perception and changing the perception of all of us on this call, because each of you has a different perception of things. Like Miss Charmant, I'm so happy she said what she said, because I'm like, okay, let's do this. All right. Because we miss it. We really do miss our peaks. We get upset because it didn't look how we expected it to look. It didn't act how we expected it to act. It didn't sound like we wanted to. It wasn't the color we wanted. My first car was, I called her Candy because she was like a maroon candy color. But that's not the color I wanted. But my perception then was, but I have a car. And I'm the only 17-year-old out of all my friends who has a car. But then when I got old and I got another car, I was like, I don't want this car. This is not the car I wanted, but it'll do. So be careful. Be careful. This is when we have to be open. This is when we have to allow. Antonio teaches us about the law of allowing. This is when you just allow, because when you allow, you don't get upset because it doesn't look how you want it to look. You don't get upset because it doesn't sound how you want it to sound. Because you allow it, you get to see more than you would normally see. This is when you retrain your subconscious. You know, your 1, 2, and 3, as Antonio tells us. These are the things that you have to check for. So, Ms. Charmone, thank you very much for your transparency. Thank you. Seriously, because I'm sure it's other people on this call that would have felt the same way. Because I'm one of them. I'm like, dude, like, I missed it. Don't come to me talking about look up. No, I don't want to look up. I'm looking around me and it don't look how I want it to look because I missed it. So thank you.
You know I'm one of them people. You know I'm one of the people. It didn't come gift wrap like I wanted it. I got up here to see the sunset, and I missed that. And you come telling me look up at the stars? No, I didn't come for the stars. I came for the sunset. Yeah, I've been tumbling down like my brother Reggie, like for real.
We all would have been rolling next to each other. We all would have been rolling next to each other. Like, oh man, wait, hold up. Oh, my arm's stuck. Like, yeah, no.
Okay, all right. Now, with that same momentum, we didn't roll. One person was thankful. Shout out to the gratitude. Yes. So we got to shout out to the gratitude. Shout out to the one who recognized. Say, let me appreciate what I do got, because how many million? A lot of million are suffering right now. So that's a good awareness, by the way, is what I wanted to say.
That was Mr. Corey.
We meditating again, y'all. You know I love to meditate. I ain't never meditated in my life to this class. We meditate, right? We rolling down this hill. So that that means we are whatever we are. We rolling down. That means we came back. Now, in the book, after he then visited the wise man, he went down and I guess everything on the job was going just peachy. Then what? Then the lessons of the wise man kicked in, right? Right? Everybody can agree? Let me see your palm if we agree. All right. Look at that class participation. All right. So lovely. Makes me think I'm teaching again. Okay. So the lessons kick in and stuff is not going our way again. It's not going our way again. Parents mad at you. What you? I did everything you told me to do, parents. I'm successful. Look at me. You know, you go to work and your coworkers don't even want to deal with you. The coworkers had a meeting without you. They outside meeting in the back. You normally meet in the room. They outside in the back. You walk by, you looking at them. They looking at you. Nothing being said. Now you inside your head. Now you thinking. And the next thing you know, that voice hit you. That old man voice, that wise man hit you. And you say, I told you was going to find yourself in this position. Well, what I did, what happened? I told you. You know what you need to do? You need to lay down on your back and take a look at them stars again. Because I told you was going to come to this place again. What do we do when all things that we worked hard for, and I'm a living testimony, all the things all of us are, everything we worked hard for. I went to college and I went through a couple of, different schools because of basketball. They gave me my scholarship. I just know the last school that I went to, I just told my sister this, the last school I went to, they took 21 of my credits. But the coach paid for my extra year of school. Then the beginning of the school year, they tell you how much money you're going to receive for both semesters. They told me my amount that I was going to make both semesters. I got it the first semester. Second semester came, I got it the second semester. Then 3 weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, they mailed me a letter saying that they overpaid me and that I can graduate, but I can't get my degree. But I can graduate. Do you know what I felt? I felt just like the person that was tumbling down from that high point because I did everything that my parents and everybody that was rooting for me, shouting for me in the corner. I did exactly what they did. I finished, but they took that from me. So the question is, what do you do? How do you bounce back from it? You know, the book tells us all kinds of, especially in the first 3 chapters of hey, when the higher you go, the more you can look down and see where you came from. But when you at the valley, you can't even see the cloud that you're in. So that question is, what do you do when you've fallen from the first grade? You fallen from that success. You fallen from all that hard work. What would you do next? Matter of fact, you wouldn't even have to do an action first because you would have to do a thought. That'll be a mental check. You would have to get your mind right. How would you get your mind right in the valley and you're in a cloud? Anybody have any suggestions?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but if you would have seen Miss
Yeah.
Sharma
Yeah.
and Grace's response, they won't leave. They like, man, I ain't touching that one.
Yeah.
Miss Michelle.
It hurts.
Michelle.
I'll take that one too. For me, because I've been through the things that I've been through, and trust me, them valleys have not been easy at all. At one point in my life, I would have been angry, or I did get angry. I got upset. I got depressed at different stages and going through different valleys. But now I know who holds my fate. And I guess I've always known that, but I trust him more. So I know that God has me and God's going to work everything out for my good. I know that he is not going to do anything that's going to hurt me. And I know, that if it's something that I want or something that I was asking for and I didn't get it the way I thought I would get it, that it may be because it's something he's protecting me from. It's something that I don't need in my life at this point in time or ever, maybe. And he's protecting me from that. So now I know to go directly to him. I know to pray, to study my word even more, to humble myself, to do a self-check on things and make sure that I'm right with him before anything. That's, again, just me.
Mr. Reginald?
Again. Because, I mean, by me even speaking through that, I thought about I thought about how did I continue? Because not only that, man, I took the credentials of graduating from a college, 4-year university, and took that to go get me a job, and them people told me I was unqualified. I didn't catch on. Listen, I just said that I got a college degree, and they told me I was overqualified. I didn't catch on to what he was saying. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know what that means, so I went to go try it again, and they told me the same thing again. So then I had to ask, what does overqualified mean? I mean, I knew what it meant, but I'm just telling you. All I was thinking about, you mean to tell me, how many years is that? 16 years. 16 years going through it, and all that hard work, homework, exams, and you telling me I'm overqualified? The positive the positive mindset that you got to have to make sure that you don't blow up and lose it. Seriously. I mean, I'm talking about losing and just give up. So again, you know, reading this book, because I'm pretty sure I hit that again throughout life again, I really can relate to laying down and looking at the stars. Because those were dark times. And in those dark times, if you just take time out to sit down and get in tune with yourself and look how bright it is when you look up, instead of keeping your head down, you'll find out it's brighter after all. It's clear after all. And that's what I get out of being in that book and understanding it.
So I thank you, Miss Michelle. Thank you, Reginald. Corey, I see that you unmuted your mic. Before you go, Corey, Charmone asked a question directly to you, Reverend Reginald. She wanted to know, how did you get through it?
First thing that I did was I had to calm down. I really had to calm down. I had to get myself together and calm down, and I had to listen. I don't know what I was listening for, because advice from somebody, I wasn't trying to hear that. Wasn't trying to hear advice from nobody, because that wasn't the voice that I was looking for. I was looking for a voice that I was familiar hearing when I was making it, when I was going through, because it was a voice that I followed. Like those back in the day who followed that cloud, it was a voice that I followed. And that voice that I followed, I was waiting on it, but I wasn't hearing it. I was hearing a lot of other people in my ear, but it wasn't that voice. Be careful of the stuff that you hear, because everybody ain't wise like that man that was on that peak. Everybody don't have the wisdom like that young. Everybody can't live in their peak like that wise man in that book did. So what I did was I sat back, I had conversations, and then I said, you know what? That's when I had to surrender. I had to surrender. Surrendering is a big part of getting out the valley. Surrendering, period. You surrender, you can go to the top. And that's what I had to do. I had to surrender. When I surrendered, that's when I heard his voice. As soon as I surrendered, I heard his voice. And I went to this place. True story. I went to a facility. It was a facility for psychiatric kids. And I promise you, as soon as I got out the car, that man said, "You hired." I didn't even fill out no application, y'all. I didn't even get an interview. I mean, literally, I got out the car and that man said, "You hired." And in 2 months, I became a supervisor. Not only did I become a supervisor, I was my dad's supervisor because I hired him. And all I had to do was surrender, though. Like, you know how hard it is to surrender? After you did everything that you did, and you did everything that everybody wanted you to do. You did everything that everybody expected you to do. All the pressure was on you. All the light was on you. Every arrow was pointed at you. Every weapon was formed against you. Everything that was against you was against you. And you made it through all that, and you got there, and they told you, "Get out." You have no choice but to surrender. And after I surrendered, I'm telling you, my ears opened up. And my eyes opened up. And that's when I seen stars. I hope the same thing is happening to everybody that's on this call. When you get to that point in life, you take time out and you surrender first. And I mean you surrender. I mean nasty surrender. I'm talking about surrender like a criminal that been running on cops and they caught him surrender. Then you just put your hands up. You're under arrest. I surrender. When they say you under arrest, all you saying is I surrender. All you're doing is saying I surrender. So after you put your hands up, they take you where you got to go. And now Now you're in your head. Man, I should have did this. I should have done that. I should have did this. I should have done that. That's when you listen to that wise man that was in that valley. Go ahead. I see some people still got a question or they have something to say.
Yeah,
Get that out.
Corey has something that he wanted to say. Miss Charmone said, thank you. Corey has something he wanted to say. And then after Corey speaks, James had a question for you.
I was going to say pretty much very close, very similar to what Reginald just said around letting go of my own ego. I think, there's a phrase in the book that says, like, when you're at your peak, confidence ego shows up and disguises itself as confidence. And I had that a lot. And every time that I always reach a point where, like, when I'm going up the hill, I'm kind of like a lot more open. But then once I reach a point there's a point where I do hit the peak. And then all of a sudden I stop doing all the things that got me there. And then that's when I slowly start falling down. So that's what I see. Is like, there's this openness, like, this humbleness that I get once I get into the valley. But then once I'm starting to go up, that humbleness slowly starts going away, and then the ego comes back. And then I'm like, oh, I'm confident again. So that's something that I always have to check, especially when I'm getting back up on that peak, is like always checking my ego, checking that. Is it really confidence, or is it ego disguised as confidence? And that's something I always got to deal with. And similar to what Reginald was saying, being able to let go of all of that and really see what's possible and see what's possible at your peak. So that's what I really saw from that.
Just because it'll take hold of you. If you don't release it, it'll take hold of you. You seen that? What they call a black Spider-Man? Or that when he put that stuff on, he couldn't take it off.
Venom.
Yeah,
Venom?
And it just took over. Yeah, it took over his body. He couldn't even take off the uniform because it just took over his body. And that's what happens when we don't surrender.
And it's something else he said too. He said, not only did ego come in, but he said once he got to his peak, he stopped doing the things that got him to the peak.
That's what practice.
Man,
Practice?
we do that on a consistent
basis.
We get to that peak and we coast.
Oh, we an all-star. Oh, we are all-star. You can't tell us we a 10-time all-star.
Man, and then be like, why did I fall? You stopped doing what you was doing to get up there.
Yeah.
Wow. So thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. I'm loving the transparency. Thank y'all so much. Because like I said, this is an open forum of education. Don't think just because I'm gonna speak for myself and Big Brother gonna speak for himself, but don't think just because I am mediating this, because it's an open forum of education. I'm learning from y'all just like y'all learning from me. Because trust and believe, something what Corey just said just knocked me smooth across my head. See, Grace, I'm gonna need you to unmute your mic. Don't leave me out here by myself.
You ain't hear me, mouth? Okay.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I'll be sure. Man.
Why is Corey in my life? All right, I'm done.
A fly on the wall, right? And then thank you, Corey. Thank you very much for, thank you, sir. But thank each and every one of you for your transparency, because we wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for the transparency. Now, Reverend Reginald, I got it. James,
I told you. By the end of it, you will get it.
You did. James asks, and I know you said it, but James asks, what does surrendering mean? And then he said, look like.
What it looked like?
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what it looked like. You ever got a whooping, James? You ever been disciplined and you had to take it? You ever had to take an L and just take the L, is what I'm saying. I'm talking about literally took the L. That's what surrender look like. Because me in my life, I grew up with firm discipline. with the rod, aka leather belt. And when the rod was stricken upon my skin, I could not do nothing in return. I could not fight back. I was not strong. It's yes, I like to be me, but it's a message in it. I could not fight back. I was not strong enough. Did you catch that? What did I have to? I had to get smarter and stronger because I knew another mistake was going to come, and I'm going to have to learn to bear the pain. You catching this, James? You should be writing this down. You bear that pain. After you bear that pain, when you get to that point again, two things gonna flash in your mind: that pain and you not being strong enough. And I guarantee those two things alone will help you make the right decision. I hope that was like Orangel and numbed some of the stuff that you was asking.
James, the floor is yours if you want to respond.
James, you there? I see you unmuted, but we can't hear you. All right. Well, thank you.
Mic check. Can you hear
There
me?
we go. There we go.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah, I
Thought
said
you
a
was
lot
whooping
right
yourself over there. I thought you was whooping yourself.
No, okay, this is what I was gonna say. This is what I said. But help myself here.
Okay.
So with my ego, I check my ego by exposing it. And when I do that, all I can say is the last time I got a whooping, I caught the belt. And then that was like, that's the last piece of discipline I remember.
Oh, after you caught the belt. You caught
Yes.
the belt. You are
Yeah.
swift.
No one catches the belt. And from that day forward, it's been lectures. But I feel like the lectures isn't what I need. I guess it's like not coming from the right person. I guess I still don't understand too is the true definition of surrender. Because like it's hard. I don't know if I have ever taken an L. You asked me if I had to take an L and just take it. Like I'm so used to being the champion. Like
Okay.
L's.
I see where you're going.
I'm being transparent.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. So like,
okay, well,
help me out.
Let me paint a picture again. I know you've seen Cops. Everybody's seen a clip of Cops. What I'm saying is, I'm sorry, I got to use Cops. But again, the perpetrator got away at the moment, and he got caught by the officer. The officer tells him to freeze, put your hands up. And at that point in time, there's nothing you can do. What can you do but surrender? What can you do but you can run, you get shot, get tased or whatever. But what I'm saying is, I'm telling you to picture the whole when the perpetrator puts his hands behind his back and they put the handcuffs on him and he goes in the car. That's surrendering, James. They're surrendering. You didn't have to. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, have you ever heard the phrase "stay down till you come up," James?
I have not.
Okay. Well,
I've always been taught to get back up no matter what.
You get back up with dignity, get back up with pride, and you serve a higher God, the Most High. But using the term cops is cool too. But cops is crooked as well. Slavery was police telling you what to do from their opinion, not from your righteousness. So you don't go by what the police say. You abide within the law. But when you stay down to come up, when he means surrender, he means that sometimes you have to have gratitude for your presence, learn from your past as you prepare for your future. From my experience, I've been without to the point where you had no choice but to stay down, stay smart, and come up. But you can't lose your pride and your dignity within that. So while you're surrendering and learning from your experience, you're not giving up on what's right. So if you know something's wrong, just because he got on a blue suit and a badge from his 9 to 5 hours, that doesn't mean he's right. That just means he got on the blue suit and badge from 9 to 5. From 6 o'clock, his ass is, he's running with the rest of the sheep. 6 o'clock when he get off. So just because they telling you that it's right, because they got a suit on, that don't mean that it's right. That you have to go with what you feel is righteous and right. And sometimes you have to just be humble and quiet until you have the ability to say something. So when he's saying surrender, sometimes you got to surrender to your circumstances and accept where you are with gratitude and move forward from that. And that, when you're forced to do that, when there's no other option, like when you ain't got no choice but to grind and get back up, or you either you grind or you starve, or you find a way, or your ass is down on the street. If you've never been through those type of circumstances, you'll understand the point of surrender and until you can get back up. Because if you have no other choice, if some people can go, and there's nothing wrong with it, but if you can always go back home to shelter and to support, which is cool. This is what the goal is for everybody. I assume everybody in entrepreneurship. But when you don't have that choice, you're forced to find other options. And usually those other options are surrender, learn, and move forward. But do that with righteousness, honor, and respect. So when you surrender, you're not surrendering just because somebody said so. You're surrendering because you feel it's the right thing to do. You get me?
Yes, sir. That was actually a real clear image. It only leaves me with one thing that I need to take care of, and it's like a mental thing. And help me where I'm wrong, because it's like it has a lot to do with the righteousness side of things. So you said something earlier where if the cop, I'm just using this scenario because I know how I function and think. If I was not in the wrong and a cop tried to stop me, or it's like, oh man, it's like win at all costs is what I'm trying to correct inside of me. He said the cops say freeze, you have to stop. If you run, you get shot. Someone like me would still run out of the fear that they would shoot anyway. Like I just seen a lot of nice, not nice, but a lot of innocent people go down. So it's like my defense and my flight mode is also my fight mode, which is sometimes my fight is a flight to save my life.
I'll give you a tactic that I've learned from training tactics and training different things. When you're dealing with situations like that, if God forbid you ever put in a situation, the police is more scared of you than you're scared of them. And as far as shooting, they only shoot from 38%. 99.9% of them have a badge ego. So, and there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of paid people that's doing things because, they're paid to do so. There's a lot of internal motives into why people do things. But if you're in a situation like that, they cannot tell you if you run, you get shot. They can shoot, of course. You've seen them do it and get away with it. But in those type of situations, you want a person to feel at ease. So as long as your hands are visible and you're not verbally abusive, but you're verbally strong, you will be fine in those type of surrender tactics. Most likely the cops are, like I said, the cops are shooting for 30%. A lot of them can't defend themselves. A lot of them, they just far out of whack. They got a badge, a gun, and a 9mm and a 38 at that. So they don't have anything of high caliber that's going to really, if you know what you're doing, have any force. But their thing is intimidation. As sometimes life intimidates you. So if you're ever in a situation like that, obviously, give them the utmost respect and obedience, but your adrenaline is going to go and you're going to want to run. Just look a person in the eye and show them your hands. That's all I can say as far as that. I don't know how we drifted to that from the goal of the story is. I don't know how we got into police brutality and stuff like that, but yeah.
I was just using the whole surrender thing as an example. I was just trying to get him to look at the picture of, okay, I'm talking about the person that did it, that actually done the crime The other stuff, yeah. But I was
you
talking.
know how you do with the police, because the police is everyday working man too, and a W-2 employee at that. You tell them, listen, they about to cut your overtime, cut your pension. Your pension is done. They're gonna go right back in their car and go right back home. Those are people that exchange time for money.
Yeah.
I can tie it all back together like this.
You take away their time, they take away their money, their overtime, they're gonna go right back in their house.
I tie it all together to get back in the topic like this. I need to surrender in the aspect of respect.
There you go.
For authority. Because my entrepreneurship is no one can tell me nothing. I'm not going to work for anybody because I can do it on my own. So it all comes back to I need to surrender to authority. And I believe Antonio can tell you guys a lot about that, about me with being in the ATS. I'm laughing because it's true, but it's like that's where I see my flaw in my thinking was. So it's like that in itself is why I'm probably in my valley. And when I master that piece, I can move on to a peak.
All right. I see you, Miss Michelle. I'm sorry, James. Go ahead.
I'm done. I was just tying it up right there. Like the respect part on respecting authority to get out of the valley that I'm in because of the lack of respect.
Gotcha. So James, Reginald, thank you so very much for answering that question. Thank you. James, thank you for your transparency. Miss Michelle has it over here burning. And then Miss Michelle, after Miss Michelle, Corey. But thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Justin. Thank you as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think James, I know you're a spiritual person and you consider you are a Christian. So just to bring this completely home for you, I'm gonna put it in this perspective. When you first gave your life to Christ, you had to surrender to Him. You had to surrender everything to go about what He wanted you to do, to go about His ways. That's exactly what they're saying, what Reggie's saying right now. Mm-hmm. Just that simple. It's just basically that, simply put, just like you surrendered your life to Christ. That's all it is.
Way to bring me back to the first love. Like, I do remember the moment I surrendered to Christ. So when you say it like that, it makes sense.
All right. So thank you, Miss Michelle G, for bringing it all the way back to the beginning for James.
Enlightenment.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you, Mr. Reverend Reginald Paul. So Corey unmuted his mic. Corey, the floor is yours. And then after that, we're going to get some final words for the evening. Mr. Corey Peters, the floor is yours.
I was going to say something very similar to what Michelle G was saying, but I was more going to speak about Jesus. And it had me think about how this is a person who died on the cross and he had all the power. And he had the power to change everything. Even in front of Pontius Pilate, he basically did a lot, but he surrendered to the moment for a bigger cause. So what you may need to look at is, what are you really fighting for, and what cause are you looking for? And what would you have to let go of to really be able to get to that cause? And that's what really surrendering is. And probably you may have an issue with surrendering because there's something you're holding on to that if you were to let go of, it would give you something. It would give you that freedom and give you exactly what you're looking for.
You nailed it, Corey. You nailed that.
All right. All right, so we have one more quick question, Mr. Reverend Reginald.
You're going to be doing that all night.
I am.
You're going to get off the thing and be doing that all night.
Can I also add something?
Yes, sir. Yes. Go ahead.
in business, I've come across experiences where people want you to surrender your dignity, pride, religion, race, area, background, and a form of submittance to say that if you surrender these things, we will give to you these worldly goods that you can get on your own. As Antonio always says, group economics is you just apply your knowledge and your network. So for every one door that asks you to jump through circus hula hoops, there's 10, 11, 12, 20 other doors that are right there for the taking, that you can be yourself with dignity, with pride, with whatever you choose to do in righteousness, and have abundance of wealth, abundance of happiness, abundance of whatever it is that you want. So when you surrender to anything, whatever it is you choose to do so, don't do so out of the exchange of, I'm doing this so I can get a car, I'm doing this so I can get a mansion, I'm doing this so I can get fame, because all of these things lie upon you. Because if you get it like that, you become a puppet, and it can easily, you can become what they call you, a yo-yo, and it can easily, they can roll it out for you, and they can roll it right back. And every time you choose to buck or go your own way, they start pulling the string back. So when you surrender to anything, whatever it is, you surrender for a righteous cause, and know that you can knock down any of them doors and get any of those goals on your own with your dignity, because your name, your history, your respect, and what you stand for goes longer than any material thing that they can ever give you, in the form of surrendering yourself, your respect, your dignity for whatever it is, whatever temporarily defeat that you may feel. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. But when you go through it as a man's man, however you choose to walk your life, however, whatever, lifestyle you choose, you would actually, you're gonna come out the winner every step of the way. So when you surrender, just remember that you surrender with pride, dignity, and surrender for what you want to do, not what society or the economy or even the law is forcing you to do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you very much. Then we had Miss Michelle G. You had a question.
Yes, ma'am. And actually, my question is pertaining to the paper. So when will we find out, what we're actually supposed to do, the paper, and as far as the paper goes?
The paper is just the paper is just a report of what you learned from the book. And you're just gonna email. You can email them. You can email it directly to me. You can do it in a PDF and send it to me. So for those of you, if you have not received the syllabus for the class, or the book list and the schedule, please email me so that I can send that over to you, and then you will know what Miss Michelle G is asking about. You can also do a 1 to 3 minute video as well, if that would be easier for you. Just turn on your camera, do this, say, so this is what I learned from Peaks and Valleys, and just go for it and send it over to us. So if you have not received the book list and the schedule for the book, email me so we can get that out to you. But what Miss Michelle is referring to is, at the end of each book, you will send over a PDF, an email, or a 1 to 3 minute video about what you learned from the book and how it helped change your perspective or your mindset, or how you can apply it to your life, and then just send it over to us. It will not be graded. You will send it over to me, and then I will, if I remember correctly, he may tell me no later. I will send those over to Mr. Antonio T. Smith Jr. so that he can view them and also share them with Reginald. And then we move on to the next book. So you can either send it via email, you can type it up and send it that way, or you can do a 1 to 3 minute video and send it over to us. And again, it's just your review of the book, what you learned from it, what you got out of it, and how you can apply it to your life. So you're very welcome. So if there are no more questions. Mr. Reginald, Reverend, dang it, Reverend Reginald Paul, if you have any final words for us this evening.
I just want to do a what they call it, an overcap overview or whatever, the post game about what we talked about today.
Yes,
We was
sir.
talking about first of all, where are we at? Are we at the valley? Are we at the peak? Do we like being at the valley or the peak? What can we learn from being from both? How do we respond and get to respective place? How do we get out the valley? What can we do to stay at the peak? What are we looking at when we get to the peak? What we didn't see when we was in the valley. That was just, particularly chapter 1. Chapter 2 basically was question 2 was when we got there in the dark after we did all that hard work. What was we expecting from the wise man? How do we respond to wisdom? Something I want us to think about tonight. How do we respond to wisdom? When we know it's true wisdom, how do we respond to it? We know when it's true wisdom. I'm not talking about fake wisdom. I'm not talking about fake. I'm talking about true wisdom. Because we asked for it, didn't we? Some of us, we ask for it every day. Give me wisdom. And wisdom just sits right there at this valley, waiting on us. Waiting on us. And we got to have gratitude. Somebody mentioned that earlier. When we get there, have gratitude. It's like creating a recipe. You got to have ingredients. But in order for this recipe to work, you got to have gratitude. You got to have wisdom. To me, that equals, when you put that in the oven and you heat that up, that means progress. That means a fine product. I mean, it came out and it was delicioso. It's something that we all striving for is to be after we put in that oven, because that oven gonna trim off some stuff. It's gonna make us rise. I mean, whatever heat does to us. If you want to be a ceramic, the same thing. We got to get some stuff off of us that we picked up in that valley, like that valley juice I spoke of. Some of us got to get that valley juice off of us. We don't want to go to the next level smelling like valley juice. We don't have to let everybody know where we came from. Not everybody needs to know where we came from. Not everybody needs to know where you came from. Only the people that is assigned to you that need to know where you came from. And you'll know. That's because you receive wisdom. I get a lot from this because I didn't have this when I was growing up. I didn't have a platform to where I can speak and get things off my chest. Took everything and I ran with it, and I learned the hard way. That's the only way that I could learn. I don't have to live like that no more. I can come to a group like this. I can come to a leadership class like this. I can receive something, and I can also let out some toxin. Because maybe some of the subjects, maybe some of the topics, maybe some of the questions happened to me early in the week, and I need somebody to talk to. Especially when we got to stay inside, you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to listen to. You need somebody to just say, it's okay. You don't want no dry okay. You want an unconditional okay from somebody else that you've never seen before. Hello. That's going through the same thing you're going through in a whole nother place. That's how I know the higher power I serve got a sense of humor. Because whatever I went through them last couple of hours, and I come together and I confess what I've been going through, and somebody else comes and say, hey, I'm going through the same thing, brother. And then we can share that. That's me laying on my back looking at the stars. And I'll end it with that. Because when I leave from here, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go look at them stars. Sis, you can take over.
Well, Reverend Reginald, I'm not coming behind that one, sir. No, sir. I'm not doing that. So what I would like to say is just thank each and every one of you for your transparency Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Thank you so much for spending 2 hours with us for the second week in a row. And we thank you for that, because we don't do it for us. You know, we do it for us, but we don't do it for us. Like I said earlier, it's an open learning forum. Just because we are facilitators does not mean that we do not learn from you. Just like Reginald just said, you know, it's a platform where if there's something that we just went through, it's like, well, hey, you know, who else? So this is a platform of, as Antonio created this years ago, Antonio and Tempest created this years ago, no one suffers alone. So for those of you who did not have anything to say this evening, please understand that it's open. This is a place of no judgment. This is a place of complete transparency without anyone like, "Ooh, girl, did you?" No, we don't do that here. The point of the leadership, what I took out of the leadership class the first 3 times I went through it, was you literally have to tear off your skin in order to grow, because your business is only going to grow as far as you grow. So as a leader, recognize your own peaks and valleys. And as you go through the books, you'll see that when Antonio and Tempest designed this, they designed it to walk you to a certain place. Each book, this is peaks and valleys. Each book gets a little bit thicker because each book walks you to a different place. So please, because there is going to be a point where you are going to read something in this book and it is going to burn within you. Share it with us. Don't hold on to it. Because if it's burning in you, it's burning in somebody else. So for those of you who shared with us this evening, who were transparent with us this evening, we are grateful for you. Thank you very much. For those of you who did not share but joined us, we are grateful for you. And we're grateful for those that will be joining us in the future. So to each and every one of you, I say thank you. I say good night. And as Antonio T. Smith Jr. always says, you can plant better. You can dominate. So thank each and every one of you. And we look forward to seeing you on next week. Good night, everybody. Rest well.
You should really be famous for every tear you've ever cried, for everything that's ever happened to you, for all the abuse you've ever been through, for the divorce you've ever been through. You should absolutely be famous for that. Yeah, that's how I think. As a matter of fact, that's how most of us great motivational speakers or platform speakers, we are. I speak over 400 times a year. I command over $40,000 a keynote. $40,000 a keynote. I can make $30,000 in 30 minutes. All because my story was one of tragedy. And I've learned how to take it to one of great wealth. I want to teach you that. I want to give to you free, no risk, no charge, no credit card needed. Free 20 hours of how to get famous for telling your story. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plant better. You can dominate.
I'm not sure if you already know this, but you're already absolutely perfect. You're already absolutely great. And you're already living in massive abundance. The most important things that you have is not what you have. It's not what you do. It's what you know. Because the people who do know what you need to know to lead the middle class, they're in the top 1%, and they control 96% of the world's income. 97% of this world is trading time for money, and that is not the way to become rich, it's not the way to become wealthy, and it is absolutely not the way to leave the middle class. There are 7.8 billion people in the world right now, and they all want to learn how to make money and how to leave the middle class. But the way to become a master at anything is to learn all the rules and then bend them to your favor. Right now in this world, there are 2,057 billionaires. Right now. So if you think becoming a billionaire is impossible, that's 2,057 people that have already proved that impossibility incorrect. And if you think that's crazy, there are 46.8 million millionaires in the world, worldwide right now. Now think about that. 46.8 million millionaires, and that number grows 1,730 millionaires every single day. Money is everywhere. You don't need to max out your credit cards. You don't need to borrow from granddad and grandma. Just look behind me. Look at all the wealth sitting behind me in this junkyard. It's insane how much money is everywhere, and you don't need to go out there and beg, borrow, and steal to get it. You just need to know the rules of making money and how to leave the middle class. Essentially, all you need to know is the algorithm of making money, the rules of making money. All you need to know is what to do and how to do it, and you can leave the middle class. Any industry, yoga, golf, underwater basket weaving, clipping fingernails, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is know how to do it, how to get it done, and then find somebody to teach you how to do it, how to get it done, and you will be able to leave the middle class. If you're not getting my point, it's real simple. Whatever you have up here, as long as you understand the rules of leaving the middle class, as long as you understand how to get money, you can take what's up here and get wealthy from what you already have. Right now, the very thing you know up here is already being searched 1,000 times a second on Google. Someone right now, actually 1,730 people right now are going to become a millionaire from the stuff that you have in your head. Why can't this be you? I mean, it's 1,730 people with your ideas that are no better than you, that are going to leave the middle class, become a millionaire. Why are you not next? So how do we do this? How do we take what you know and apply it to objective money-making secrets and then allow you to leave the middle class? How do we take you from where you are and let you escape to where you want to go? So how do we make all this money, or take all this knowledge from the Warren Buffetts, from the Elon Musk? How do we take everything that everyone before you has done, and how do we take all of that and then put it in your head so you can leave a legacy for your family? My name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. And 32 years ago, I lived in a trash can. That's right, from 6 to 14, I had no running water, no electricity, no anything, and somehow I'm in the top 1% today. Not because I had the right background, not because I had a silver spoon in my mouth, simply because being homeless made me learn how to make money. I retired when I was 29 years old. I'm more than likely younger than you. I'm one of the top 1% income earners in one of the richest countries in the world. What I learned how to do when I was 6 years old was learn how to generate enough money to eat some cookies so I wouldn't die to death from starvation. From there, I learned how to go from cookies to a meal. From a meal to clothes to shelter to everything else that supplied my necessary needs. When I was 6, I was forced to learn how to make money, and now that's what I'm going to do and help you do. I've seen amazing results. I have my own economy, I've homeschooled my own children, and I wrote a book that teaches you every single thing that I know about making money, every single thing that other people know about making money, and most importantly, all the stuff that we don't tell you. Because the truth is, and you know it like I know it, the most honest, the most hardworking, unselfish people on planet Earth live in the middle class. Yet, your honesty, your unselfishness, your devout religion-going self is not enough to get to the top 1%, and that's not fair. The second half of my life has been not about how much money I make, but how I will be remembered from all the money that I have made. And I've been trying to teach everybody how to get out the middle class. I'm the crazy guy, famous on the internet for trying to create 100,000 millionaires. I've created 8 so far. I got a 9th one on the way, all the way from India. That's pretty cool. And what I want to tell you is something very simple. It's been hard. It's been absolutely hard to help people leave the middle class, not because of the people, because the system would rather keep you being someone else's money instead of you having your own economy and having the money come find and flow to you. It was frustrating because I knew that anybody can make money. And if you knew what I knew, you would change your life. Over the last few years, I built a large following of over 500,000 people every month that pay me to actually, for me, to give them advice. Well, that's been exciting for me. And the cool thing is I've created thousands of six-figure earners. I've created millionaires. I've created people who can live their dreams and hold on to their legacies. And now my eyes are on you to create you to what you need to be great. I have been teaching my principles and these principles to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, every country, all continents, and anyone who has taken them seriously, written them down, and applied them have a 100% success rate of leaving the middle class. I've taught these secrets to my following and my inner network, and I've watched them go from 4 figures to 5 figures, 5 figures to 6 figures, 7 figures, all the way to 8. Everything that I've ever learned from millionaire mentors, billionaire mentors, and everything I learned from being homeless, and everything that got me into the top 1%, I have placed inside of a book. To date, it is the longest book that I've ever written, the most best book that I've ever written, and that book is called The Richest Man and the Trash Can, and I'm offering it to you today for free. This book is going to show you how to become wealthy into the top 1% and leave the middle class. This book is going to give you a step-by-step plan if you're 30 years old, all the way to 70 years old, how to get into the top 1%. If you're a teenager, how to get to the top 1%. If you're a millennial, how to get to the top 1%. It's going to teach you how to make 6 figures immediately, teach you how to get to $1 million immediately, and all that good stuff. Plus, I'm going to give you the 36 objective laws of leaving the middle class. Plus, I'm going to give you every last one of my secrets that have made me rich. You have to understand that leaving the middle class is the most important fight that you're going to have in your life. And to be honest with you, and you can kind of relate to this, it almost takes $450,000 a year just to be broke in America. And that's just in America. If you don't leave the middle class, which is actually an illusion, then you are going to have a really hard time. Think about it for a second. Most of you going to be watching this are going to be baby boomers, and you've been sold a bad check. They lied to you. Your retirement was not enough for you to live comfortable, and I'm going to give you this book for free so you can figure out how to triple your retirement and then quadruple your retirement, and then, as Grant Cardone would say, 10x your retirement so you can live the life that's worthy of you. I want you to remember that leaving the middle class is the most important battle that you could ever face in your entire life, especially for your family. So consider this video, this book, your friendly tap on the shoulder. I want to send you a free copy of this book because I believe that abundance is your birthright. I believe that abundance is freedom, and I believe that this book is right for you. In fact, I believe in that so much that I will send you the book for free. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping. I'll eat the cost. I'll take the loss. And all you have to do is get the book and dominate your reality right now and apply the principles so you can be the best person for your life that is yours. Fill out the form sitting right there to the right. Go ahead, dominate your reality. I can't wait to send you my book. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to have you as someone that's been on the journey with me. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plan better. You can dominate.